Welcome everyone. I'm Alexander Mihalcea, and today we have one of the industry leaders, Jennifer Sault, founder and managing director of ThriftforGood. Welcome, Jennifer. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm happy to be here. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for asking. And awesome because I'm excited to have you on the podcast today, and I'm sure you're going to be of one of the great value for the audience.
Thank you.
Now, before we dive in, could you give us a quick overview of what ThriftforGood does?
Of course. So Thrift for Good, we're charitable pre-loved clothing stores in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. We have three branches now. We're growing fast. We're 5 years old. And in the UAE, we're the only zero waste initiative with clothing. And we donate 100% of our profits to support children's charity projects around the world, mostly combating child labor and providing education, health, and housing. So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. And what inspired you to create Street for Good? Was there a specific moment or experience that sparked this journey?
Oof, many moments. I'm lucky. I've been working with fundraising for different charitable organizations for over 20 years now. So I've been lucky to be part of different ways to raise funds, and reselling pre-loved items was always a great way. In my last job with Golf for Good, which is the nonprofit organization in the UAE we work with, um, we fundraise through different means, but every day people were calling, not knowing where to bring their pre-loved items, wanting to volunteer. And it just, in that moment, it became very, very clear that Dubai needs this. It's so common everywhere else in the world, but didn't exist really
Right.
in Dubai yet at that time. So yeah, we just started informally fundraising on the weekends with volunteers, collecting donated items and reselling, and it just exploded. It grew really, really fast. So the need was apparent.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. And for example, what was your background before starting this venture?
Yes, so I've worked with charitable organizations for the last 20 years. Starting in high school, we were fundraising to build daycares, and fundraising through merchandising, through production of products, through personal challenges, school groups, etc., etc. So yeah, it fits very well into the ethos of my background. And I'm just so happy that we found a really good way to raise money for the kids around the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And now let's go back to when you first started. So, what major challenges or gaps did you see in the market that made you think this needs to be solved?
Oof, that's a good question. So 5 years ago, there really weren't any thrift stores in the United Arab Emirates. Coming from Canada, being a thrifter myself, I was missing these. But also, Dubai is a place where there's a lot of consumption. There's a lot of shopping. People stay for a couple years and then they leave. So it's very transient as well. And at that time, there were no
Right.
solutions for people to give their things away. And there was no facility for recycling clothing or processing clothing locally. So a massive amount of waste in the region is what kind of prompted this, as well as the opportunity to be able to use that to service those that are into sustainability, into thrifting, and also people who are looking for better prices, to give them an option for access to
Mhm.
sustainable fashion and to translate that into funding for kids. So yeah, the gap was huge. It still is huge, but we're working on that by growing little by little.
Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah.
And for example, how does Street for Good promote fashion sustainability in the Dubai community?
Yes. So first is access. The most sustainable thing is the t-shirt that's already in your closet. So by creating a circular fashion system, people can have access to clothing that already exists. It reduced the demand for new fashion, which, as we know, clothing production is incredibly resource intensive. And as companies are competing for the lowest price, they're switching to models that are very bad for our planet, bad for the environment. So we're educating, one, through providing access. People can get affordable, perfect quality, sustainable clothing. But also in addition to that, we've got a whole range of different programs that help educate people. So we're in schools teaching how to mend clothes, to upcycle t-shirts into tote bags, and helping kids look at materials as a resource that never needs to be thrown away. That can always be recreated. We
Okay.
also have workshops in our sustainability hub, and we work really, really hard to keep clothing away from the landfill. So stain treating, washing, we have volunteers repairing clothes, doing everything we can to bring it back to perfection so it can go back into,
Right.
yeah, back into the economy, back into sales. And we also recycle the end of life stuff. So we've created a zero waste system with clothes. We're trying to inform people, spread awareness about all of these issues as we go. And yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And
Yeah.
also, could you explain your zero waste approach to clothing and how you achieve this?
Yeah, exactly. So as I said, it's really about looking at what each item needs and looking at it as a material, fabric, something that can be used.
Yeah,
So if it's perfect, it's easy, we sell it. If it needs love, we give it love, washing, stain treating, mending,
mhm,
repairing a new zipper, a new button, whatever it might need to make it in that category. If we can't, we stick to local distribution. There's so many issues in the fashion industry about sending clothing in bulk
yeah,
to countries in Africa, for example, where a lot of that will end up in the oceans, in landfills, and in places where there
yeah,
isn't the capacity to recycle. So our model is really to do everything locally, keep it locally, and send money to really fund well-meaning good initiatives that empower economies instead of flooding them with something that makes it impossible to compete with. Um, so
yeah.
I'm talking around the around the issue, and then it's the recycling. So we're lucky we finally found Landmark Group opened a local recycling facility, and what they do is they shred the fabrics into new fibers. So we also use that to stuff cushions in our workshops and all these things. But they have created a way to close the loop locally here. And before them, we were sending all of our end of life materials to India to recycle into carpet and furniture. So using local innovations, it's really exciting to be able to have circular models and see nothing go to landfill.
Okay, that's very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
And what impact has Street for Good had on children's charity projects around the world?
Yeah. So this is the reason I get out of bed every morning and work so hard to make this work because it really does not take that much money to help a child in need. For example, in one of our projects in Tanzania, Large Shield Children's Home, it's only 1,500 dirhams to sponsor a child for an entire year. Their housing, their clothing, their food, their education, people to love them, 1,500 dirhams. So we're talking about
Yeah,
£400. Yeah, and so it's really cool. We just crossed the $1 million raised for charity mark. And to think about how many lives we've touched, we funded 16 children's charity projects, and each one of them supports hundreds of children that can now go to school, can now, even if they don't have parents, have a hope, have a future. So it's really, really inspiring that we can do that. And I love our model as well because we're very smart with how we give the grants. Um, Essentially, charities can apply for funding. We select it based on their ability to report, how many kids it affects, how sustainable it is, and other criteria. And then we release those funds in installments against receipts so we can see how the project is growing and improving in a really transparent, awesome way. So yeah.
yeah. That's fascinating. But also, could you elaborate on why the existing solutions weren't meeting these needs at the beginning?
Ah, that is a really, really good question. And I think that goes down to so many issues around global economics and governments, corruption, and just resources available. In most of the places we work, kids are in a bit of a poverty trap, meaning if their parents are farmers or if they have no parents, they can't afford decent levels of education. So the children grow up with very few prospects, and that just continues generation to generation. So when we're doing our funding work, we're trying to disrupt that cycle with a very grassroots approach, keeping this generation in school, at home where they're safe, where they belong, and with enough proper nutrition, healthy resources to develop their brains and to kind of be able to have more prospects to give a better life to the next generation after them. I
Yeah,
can give an example if it's okay, if I've got time. Our current
yeah, go on.
project, yeah, cool. Thank you. Just cut me off if I go on too long. Hey,
Yeah, no
our
problem, go on.
current our current project is in Nepal in partnership with Child Rescue Nepal. And what they do is they specialize in saving kids who have ended up in trafficked situations. That means they're working or they're exploited for all sorts of horrible things instead of going to school. And our project with them is in prevention. So we're funding a rural community called Magwanpur in Nepal where the child trafficking rates are the highest in the region. And really, when we're doing our surveys or studies and looking into that, the most common reason that the kids are sold is because the parents can't provide for them. They can't send them to school, or their school is interrupted by things like period poverty, where the girls miss school if they are on their cycle. And so the parents, without a solution to be able to give their kids a better future, they can make money out of them, or they can send them off thinking that they'll have a better future with someone else. So really, parents want to keep their kids. They want to know they're safe. They want to know they're protected. But when people run out of options, they turn to desperate solutions. So our program is really building up the hygiene structure, the school infrastructure, and finding solutions for parents to be able to keep sending their kids to school and finding ways to make it so kids miss less school. And yeah, I'm just really excited we could be behind this. It's going to affect
Yeah,
about
yeah.
1,000 children in the region, and hopefully we'll be able to see the trafficking rates go down as a result of this initiative.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
Yeah,
And
it's a good reason. Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
right. So walk us through how Thrift for Good addresses these challenges. What makes your approach unique?
Um, so there's so many, thankfully, there's so many charities that are doing really good work around the world. I think what makes us unique from the fundraising side, we're the one of the only charitable pre-loved clothing stores in the region, which is cool. It's a great model for fundraising everywhere else in the world, and the UAE needs this. So it's something that's become quite a movement. I'm really inspired by the people involved in it and the community and how many people are willing to support. And then on our project approach side, which I think your question is asking about, I think
Yeah,
it's the grassroots approach. We also we work with really strong local partners who know the needs of the community really well and can dictate to us what they need. There's also a high level of transparency given our reporting systems. So there's very little room for corruption or for people to steal that money. We always have like a clear story that goes behind every single one of our projects. So it's really inspiring when people support us, say they spend 100 dirhams in store, 25 pounds,
yeah.
they will know how much of that's going to the kid. And if they follow our stories, they'll see exactly how that money has helped change lives as time progresses. So that's why I love what we do. It's very transparent, it's very tangible. We get to know those projects really closely. We always send someone to go and visit the project to understand and to communicate needs better. And those partnerships are continuing as we can keep growing and see the charities through to sustainable roots, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how did you build? Because I have a very curiosity. How did you build a
Mhm.
community of 3,000 volunteers to support Treat for Good?
Yeah. I think in Dubai, especially, it's full of expats. People come here to work and then they go home, and there are pockets of great communities here, but I think in general, a lot of people are hungry for belonging to something, for having a community around them. And a lot of people here miss sustainability. They miss things that come from home if they happen to be Western expats or from a
Yeah,
country where that exists.
yeah,
Um,
right.
yeah, that's okay. So essentially, we started small. During the wake of COVID, we started with an online shop, and people at that time were looking for ways to get involved with things while they were bored at home. And it just, as we grow, word of mouth, it keeps growing hand in hand.
Okay, that's very interesting. But
Yeah,
what motivates people to volunteer for your organization?
yeah. I mean, it's the same reason people would volunteer anywhere else. It's the warm glow of giving back, the feeling that you're doing something meaningful with your day. I think for some people, they're looking for community, they're looking to socialize, and they get a lot of that with us. For some people, I'm not going to lie, it's the shopping. If you're sorting the donations, you're the first one to order, open the bag. So you're going to see what's inside. Um, yeah, and I really think a lot of it's driven by people wanting to help, wanting to do something. So
Yeah,
yeah, we're very lucky.
yeah. And how do you see the role of community engagement in driving social change?
It's absolutely essential. I think, Gandhi's quote, be the change you wish to see. I think if each one of us was to change the things in our life that we wanted to see in the world, it would have a very, very powerful impact. And when it's done as a community, it can be coordinated, it can be communicated, it can be done together to be that much more powerful. Um, so yeah, it's absolutely
Okay.
essential. If you want to change the mindset in a place, you need people to buy in and champion that for you. Nothing can be done alone. So yeah,
Right. Teamwork.
yeah, teamwork's the dream
And
work.
yeah, right. And for example, when we talk to potential partners, what's the biggest misconception they typically have about what you do?
Ah, so in this region, there's sometimes a stigma around pre-loved. People think it's dirty or something like that. So that's probably the biggest barrier. We've had landlords that didn't understand the concept and would turn us away because it's pre-loved. But I mean, I'm obviously biased. It's ridiculous. They're fantastic clothing that needs a home. They're clean. There's nothing wrong with them. There's no bad voodoo or anything behind them. Like it's something that can help charity and just produce
Yeah,
something really beautiful. And we have a high standard. We make it perfect quality. So you're not compromising on anything. If anything, secondhand, it's the future. It's the segment of the clothing industry that's predicted to grow the fastest. It already is growing the fastest. In the US, it's 5 times faster than any other clothing category. Um, yeah, I'm rambling a little bit, but essentially, it's more sustainable. It helps
yeah.
kids. It's so much more superior than buying firsthand in every single way. So part of the challenge is making people understand that and at least having the openness to come and see the concept, to understand. Because if
Mm.
they're willing to see, their mindsets will change. But a lot of the times, there's, yeah, that stigma, that barrier that we're trying to break through.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And now, looking at a broader industry, what key trends are you seeing emerge?
Oh, so luckily for us, the younger generation, Gen Z, they absolutely love thrifting. Thrifting is very in. The unique finds, the millennium throwbacks, the vintage pieces, that's what is becoming really popular. So that trend is there. And I'd say there's a growing mindset towards switching to more sustainable solutions, which is really inspiring and great too. People are looking for ways to do things in a better way.
Yeah,
So that helps us as well. Yeah.
okay. But how do you see Treat for Good evolving in the future over, let's say, next few 5 years?
Yeah. So the sky's the limit, to be honest with you. Um, our plan is to keep growing. It's to keep reaching communities that don't have this solution. So opening new branches, also opening hopefully a way to make buying pre-loved as easy as online shopping,
Hmm.
outcompeting those big guys like Shein. If somebody can find affordable fashion online and have it delivered to their home, I think that would be a big win for sustainability. So building those inroads, and then being able to amplify what we do with our charity projects uh, by building bigger partnerships, by building strategies to make those charity organizations self-sustainable within their finances, so that we can affect more children over the long term.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
That's very interesting. But I have a curiosity. So,
of
what
course.
role do you think technology can play in advancing fashion sustainability?
So I mean, we can't do anything without technology, right? Um, we live in a really exciting time.
Okay, perfect, and that's impressive. So, thank you for sharing those insights about you, about the company, and about the whole story. And thank you for this amazing podcast session. See you in the next episode.